What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hey, we here with something interesting. Came across this. Definitely can relate. Being a former college student here in the state, we got Australian university versus American college. Definitely gonna be interested to see these the differences. I have seen some in Europe, and it makes me think. Yeah, I wish I probably would have got education in Europe or somewhere overseas. Especially since it's free. Of course, taxes and stuff play into that. But here in the States, most time you're going to get an education that's worth more than probably a job salary that you're going to receive for that, So I still owe, apparently Biden, there's a bill that's supposed to get passed, giving us like 10K college, pay off 10K of your college fees, 20K if you got Pell Grants and stuff, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, it might get passed. Then again, you never know. It might not get passed. He probably holding it off, for the next election. I mean, if you know how politics work, they do certain things, say certain things, But we'll see. We'll see. Because I do need that 20K off. I need it. It's important. But let's check this out. See what it's about. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Australia.
Hi everyone, my name is Jenna and today I'm going to be talking about the differences I have found between American college and Australian uni. So I've been attending college in America for 3 and a bit weeks now, and just in those 3 weeks I have seen a lot of differences. Some of them are good. I'm not really sure which ones are good because now I'm looking at my list again and I'm like, ooh, these are actually kind of crappy. So I never realized that Australian unis are really lazy in a way. You don't have to go to class anywhere near as much, you have less assignments to do, and it's actually easier to pass. So coming over here was a real eye-opener and kind of a shock for me for a lot of different reasons. So these are the main differences I have found between American colleges and Australian unis. Number one, the number of classes you have to attend. So back at home, I could make my timetable and get away with only going into uni once or twice a week because all of my classes, I'd only have like 2 contact hours for it or something, so I'd have a lecture and then a tutorial, so I'd just put them one after another, or I would literally just have a 2-hour lecture or a 2-hour tute. That would be the entire time that I had to be at class. Over here, I'm at class 5 days a week. I literally have 3 classes that run on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like they run every one of those days. I have 1 class that runs on a Tuesday, Thursday, and I have an online class as well, which is insane to me. So on a Monday, my schedule is I have a medieval class from 9 till 9:50. I then have my American literature class from 10 till 10:50. I then have a break, and then I have my creative writing from 2 till 2:50, and that is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So every single one of those days, I have those classes. On a Tuesday, I have my mythology class from 9:30 until 10:45. So that's a longer class. That's an hour and 15 minutes, and that's just a lecture, and I have that twice a week. And then I also have my Victorian Studies class for my online class. Therefore, I'm on campus and I'm at uni more often than I would be at home. So that's one example of how American unis are a bit more intense than Australian unis.
Definitely had that schedule. If American schools in high school, it sucked because we had to take a bunch of classes that we didn't need as well. But the crazy thing is we're just in class. We're just at school for 8 hours, 9 hours out of the day, which sucks. So when I got to college, that schedule was actually perfect because now, I'm on campus, but Tuesday, Thursday was my favorite. I only had 2 classes those days. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it sucked because in order to be a full-time student, you had to take 4 or 5 classes and stuff like that. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, I had 2. But on Wednesday, I had my major class. I went to school for engineering to start. And 1 class, we only met once a week on a Wednesday. It was 4 hours. A 4-hour class. I was in there from 4 to 8. 4 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. And that's if, usually we in there, if it, in the beginning, they'll let us out early and stuff. But as we start getting into the nitty gritty stuff, in there for the whole 4 hours, which is enough time to get what we were doing done. But it's a lot. But compared to high school and stuff, that schedule was good to me.
Number 2, you have more assignments, but they're worth less. This is one thing that I haven't quite yet figured out whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but normally back home in all of my topics, I would only have maybe 4, maximum 5 assessments per semester. So I would have these really big assignments. I'd have essays that were worth 40% of my grade or 50% of my grade, and they would be massive 2,500 to 3,000 word essays, lots of secondary sources, that kind of thing. Over here, it's not like that. Over here, I have more assignments, so I have an assignment due almost every week for almost every class, but they are not worth anywhere near as much. So for an essay back home, it would be worth like 50%. For papers that I do over here, they're actually only worth like a certain number of points, which I will get to in a minute. So that's one thing I haven't quite decided if it's better or if it's worse, the fact that I have more assignments but they worth less. I think I prefer to have less assignments that are worth more because you really get to spend more time on them, whereas at the moment, because I'm doing...
And sorry for stopping this. She got a point because I had calculus. We had homework every day, you know, just for like, if you pass the calculus, we have homework, these problems, we got like 10, 12, maybe 20 problems every night. Just to take a test that are only 12, 15 problems, and they're not even the ones, like, they're harder than the ones that we had, and it's worth like 25% of the grade. The homework would just worth like, what, 1%, 1 to 5%. But I passed my first year because, like, I at least got a 90 on all the homework, but I was failing. I only passed like one test. And I still got a C in that class, you know. C's get degrees. They got me one.
So much in each of my classes, and I have so many assignments, I don't get to spend as much time on them as I would like to do. Difference number 3, you need a 70% to pass. So in Australia, the majority of your courses, you only need to get 50 to 55% in order to pass the course, which is actually really, really easy to do. You literally just have to pass. Over here in America, however, you have to get 70% in order to pass the course. I can get a 50. That's 20% more than what I have to get at home. Luckily at home, I normally range between like the 70 to 90% sort of range, but also that's a lot of pressure because I have to pass all of my classes in order to get credits back home. So that's a lot of pressure put on me to have to pass with more effort than what I would normally do.
Wow.
So that's yikes. Difference number 4, more work. I have found my American classes to be a lot more work than my Australian classes. After every class, I have homework, and that's usually some form of reading or some form of response or comment or discussion post, and it's honestly just piling up. On a Monday, I get homework from my medieval class, my American lit class, and my creative writing class. That's all due on Wednesday at the beginning of the class. So I have less time to work on things and I have more stuff to do, which is insane, let me tell you. Difference number 6, readings. So back home.
And on top of that, you might need a job. You probably got to work. So that time that you could have, you know, spending doing homework or something, you might need to make a couple of bucks. So you're probably working a 3 to 5 hour shift somewhere.
I got really, really good at writing essays and doing responses without actually reading any of the books that I had to read for class. I got super good at it. I would read like a couple of chapters here and there, and I would kind of just get a feel for it. But mostly I would just listen really hard in lectures and tutorials, and I would be able to get enough of a picture that I was able to write my responses. Over here though, that is not the case. In the majority of my classes, I have reading quizzes, which means that the professors actually give us a quiz at the start of our lesson to make sure that we're actually reading the novels that we're supposed to read. That's really different for me. I haven't read a uni novel in like a good 6 months, I think, until I started this course, and now I'm reading a novel pretty much every day. It's insane. It's also really difficult because with the reading quizzes, my brain has just got so many novels going through it that it is difficult to separate and to figure out what goes between each reading quiz. English exams.
That's so true.
So back home, I have never done an exam at uni apart from my very first year at uni when I did a philosophy course. That was like back in 2013 when I was at a different uni doing a different course. So we don't really talk about that. My uni that I'm at home at the moment, we don't do English exams because how do you do an English exam? You really can't, in a way. You are better off doing essays where the students are given a chance to express themselves and to express their ideas about the text that you've read. Over here, however, I have exams. I have exams for almost all of my topics. I have a midterm and I have a final exam, and I'm just sitting here going, how? What are you even going to put on an English exam? Are you going to put something really ridiculous? I remember the one test that I did for English, literally one of the questions was, what happens to the tree outside the window when Jane rejects Mr. Rochester? Something ridiculous like that in Jane Eyre. And I was like, I don't know. That was actually a book I'd read too. So I was like, I don't know. How am I supposed to know that? So apparently I have to memorize every single piece of information that goes on in every single book that I've read.
It's wild because my English class is like my first professor. All he was just like, we got 4 papers that you're going to do. And the last paper is basically all of those 4 topics that you talked about. So you pretty much like the 4 papers, they were like 4 or 5 pages. And that last one was going to be like 15 to 20 pages. But he was like, if you do the 4 pages, you pretty much already got 16 pages for this 20-page paper that you already got to do. Never had a quiz. It's crazy because in my history classes, we had to write papers and take quizzes. It was crazy. I failed history my first semester because I'm like, why? I would like, they was grading me harder for my writing than the English teacher. I was making A's writing papers. In history, no. But I agree. Why are we doing quizzes in English? Makes no sense.
And considering for one of my topics, I'm already up to book number 3 and it's week 3. Another one of my topics, I'm up to book number 2. It's just like, don't really know how to feel about exams. I don't know how to study for them. It's been years since I've done one. It's literally been 6 years since I've had an exam. I don't know what to do. Absences. So back home, you are only supposed to be absent from 2 classes and then you get told that you will fail. However, you can easily get around that by sending emails like, oh, I have a family emergency, and then it's all fine. Not that I've ever done that or anything. Here though, if you are absent for more than 5 or 6 of your classes, depending on the class that you are actually in, and you either don't have a reason or you do have a reason, apparently it doesn't matter. If you're absent more than those times, the professor will drop you from the class without warning. They will just drop you and you'll show up and they'll go, what are you doing here? You're not in this class anymore. That is after you've paid for it, and I'm just like, what? That is...
Some of them tell you in the beginning, because we get a syllabus. If you read the syllabus, they tell you that. Or they should.
Even if the absences are, like, you have a reason for them, you still get dropped. So that's a little bit interesting to me, because there are definitely extenuating circumstances where sometimes people just can't come to uni, and then you're going to punish them for it by dropping them from a course. That just sounds insane to me.
Let me choose to drop the class.
There's no such thing as extra credit in Australia. There really isn't. Like, you go to class, you do your assignments, and that's it. That's your option. Here, though, I can do things to get extra credit. Like, if I do more in the quizzes, I get extra credit. I think in one of my classes, I can literally go watch a lecture put on by the English department and I can do a write-up about it and I can get extra credit. So you want me to do extra work to get points for something that I could just spend time doing my assignment? That makes 0 sense to me. Like, why don't people just do their assignments and really spend the time on them and get the points that they need instead of wasting time doing something else to get extra credit?
The only credit I got, like, some classes did have extra credit type stuff. Not like my main class is no such thing. You get what you get, don't throw a fit type of thing. But what they don't talk about, I averaged, like, one of my classes, we had to go in the class, but everything was done online. So it was just lectures and you go home and do the work online. I made a 70 on the work online. But because I was coming to class, I got extra points and ended up making an A in the class just because I came to class every day and didn't miss a day. So that extra point can be, if you have class that you got to go to, if you're in college, especially in America, go to class. Just go. I'm telling you, even if you get a 60 or a 50 on the work, because you came to class, you gonna pass. I ain't gonna lie to you.
It makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. Handing in assignments. Back home, Australia is getting really good at this whole saving paper and recycling thing. So we hand up all of our assignments and then our lecturers and our tutors, they grade them online. Over here though, we have to print everything and hand it in class. In paper format. Why?
Crazy.
What a waste of paper. Oh, wow.
In the beginning,
in each of these classes, you have, 30 or so kids who are all handing in 35-page assignments. Think about how much paper that's wasting. Like, just hand stuff in online. That is something that I'm really not coping with. Points instead of percentages. So back home, each of your assignments is worth a certain percentage of your grade, and then when you get your grade back, you get the percentage. Over here, everything is worth points. So, like, I'm doing stuff in my Victorian Studies class at the moment, and each week I have to hand in a homework and I have to hand in discussion posts, and they're worth 10 points each. I'm like, what? Very confusing.
Crazy.
The grades themselves. Back home, we have 4 passing grades. We have a high distinction, a credit, and a pass, and then depending on which uni you are at, you might have pass 1, pass 2, and then you've got fail. Over here, it's like A, B, C, D, F, and only A, B, and C are the passing grades. That's taking a little bit of getting used to. And
these are passing, but most of your class, they tell you need to get a C or higher in it, but you can still pass. I think I had 1D. I was like, they still let me graduate. I was like, let's go.
That you have to get 70%. It's taking a lot of getting used to. But I mean, you know, it's fine. It's only week 3. I'm sure I've got this. Word counts. Back home, pretty much all of your assignments are by word count. So I'll get given an essay and they're like, we want 2,500 words on this essay, and then you have a plus or minus 10% leeway. And I'm like, cool, I got this. I can write 2,500 words easy. It's not easy, it's actually very difficult. Over here though, everything is like 2 to 3 pages long. So I have an assignment due in a couple of weeks for my mythology class, and the requirement is it needs to be 2.5 to 3 pages long, a maximum 4.
Then the
font, doesn't make a lot of sense
font.
to me. It actually makes me kind of nervous to have to do like pages and not words, because at least when I have words, like I have a word count that I can look at and that I can go for. But when I've got pages, I'm like, that's weird. Especially because if it's like 2.5 to 3 pages, I could literally just write 2.5 pages and then just leave it at that. And I don't know, it just seems weird to me. Like, just use word counts. Those are some of the biggest differences that I have found so far. I might find more as the semester goes on, who knows, but I don't know what I prefer. I think I prefer Australian unis because to me, a lot of the stuff seems a lot more straightforward, but to be fair, that could just be because that's where I've grown up and that's what I've been dealing with for the past, I've been at uni for 5 years now. 5 years doing a 3-year degree. I got this. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below if you go to university, what country you go to uni in, and tell me if any of this stuff sounds different or familiar to what you do in your uni, because I would really love to know. I am super, super curious to see the differences between universities and colleges all around the world. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.
Stay random. No, she definitely, I feel like the way she was talking about the university here in the States, she was spot on. There are a few differences, you know, not gonna, of what you meant. I think everything varies with the college that you do go to, you know, because certain things that I've heard about other colleges, be like, well, you know, that don't happen at my college, you know, and that's within the state. But everything she said was spot on, though. We go by points. You pretty much got to calculate it yourself, you know. If you need probably like 60 points or 80 points to pass a class, you know, you got to pretty much divide it by yourself to get that percentage of what you made in the class and stuff like that. The schedules, it's a lot. Being a full-time student, you have to take like 12 to 15 hours, you know, which is going to be like 4 to 5 classes, because certain classes going to count as 3 hours, certain classes going to count as 4 hours, certain classes going to count as 1 hour. So, but spot on, you know. I don't know what university you went to here in the States, but yeah, it's different. It's different. I thought you were going to hit them prices. That was going to be a different story right there, my boy. But, you know, she didn't. But this was good overall. College was a good time for me, though. College, if you've been to college, was good. College was good to me. You know, it went by so fast. I enjoyed college more than high school, for sure. Probably because the freedom, you know, not the American dream freedom, but just the freedom to, you know, you making decisions by yourself. You're not in your parents' house type thing. But this was good. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Hit that subscribe button. Send down those recommendations. Give it a thumbs up. Gotta make sure I subscribe to this channel. She did a good job. Y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.